conflict. Now to the scandal rocking politics and our country tonight. Remember that John Edwards told ABC News that his affair with Riley Hunter started only after Riley was hired to work on his campaign documentaries in July 2006. That, like so much of what Edwards has said recently, is provably untrue. In fact, it is more likely that she was hired because she was already his mistress. Item: early April 2006, 3 months before she begins work on the documentary, she sends an email to a friend. Obtained by the Huffington Post, Riley writes about a trip to North Carolina to see a man she refers to as, quote, my love lips. Love lips. Item: another email a week later in April 2006, Riley describing the mental anguish of, quote, being in love with a still somewhat dysfunctional married man. She got that right. Why confess, John Edwards, if you're still going to lie? But he's got bigger problems than that. Anyway, hi everybody, Geraldo Rivera here. Aside from watching his life unravel, John Edwards better get himself a good lawyer because he may have run afoul of tax and campaign finance laws. Item: even assuming that his mistress, Riley Hunter, paid taxes on the $114,000 that his campaign paid to her to do 4 months worth of work on those silly, flirty, vanity videos that they never used except on the web, there's a lot more money in play. Item: Edwards' fundraiser, a guy named Fred Barron of Texas, claims that he's the one who's been paying $15,000 a month hush and support money to Riley Hunter, $20,000 a month to schmucky Andrew Young. He's the ultra-loyal Edwards aide who's taking the baby bullet for his wayward hero. Barron's claims that he did it to protect the pair from the wicked National Enquirer, that he did it all on his own accord. Edwards said, I don't know nothing about nothing, but here's the legal rub. Assuming that this guy Barron from Texas uses his own money, did Barron pay the federal gift tax? The federal gift tax as required on any amount exceeding $24,000 per year per person. $24,000, that's the maximum. If you're paying $15,000 a month, after 2 months, you better pay your gift tax. Did the money instead, which is probable, really come from John Edwards? Or worse, from one of the several nonprofit foundations that Edwards set up to keep himself in the public eye between the 2004 campaign when he ran as John Kerry's vice president and the 2008 race for the White House. So he sets up these organizations to keep him in the limelight. Now, since these organizations are tax exempt, those payments might well be illegal. And item: did Riley Hunter pay income tax as required on the money she received, the hush money? Did Andrew Young pay income tax on the hush money? Will Edwards allow those two to take the legal fall? Is the possibility, and this is on a very painful human note, is the possibility that her husband might go to jail the real reason that Elizabeth Edwards is standing by his side? She's fighting incurable cancer. Is she also plagued by the awful worry that her 2 young children might lose both parents, one to this fatal disease, the other to prison? Judge Denise Pirro, former District Attorney Kimberly Guilfoyle, Judge, you first. Do you credit in any way, shape, or form the notion that I consider preposterous that John Edwards allowed someone to pay his mistress, didn't know anything about it, don't tell me anything, I don't want to hear it, like you know, the...
Hear no evil, see no evil.
Right.
First of all, you're leading the witness, but I absolutely agree with you. Okay, there is no way you can believe a guy who has lied to the press and the American public, and I mean, it is the height of arrogance to think you can run for president and hide this stuff. But in addition to lying to the press and the public repeatedly, Craig just said in that last piece that he has visited her 4 times in the last year. He told us that the affair was over in 2006. He's visiting her at 2 in the morning, unbeknownst to his wife, after he supposedly confessed. I don't believe a word the guy says, nor should anyone else for that matter.
Okay, 4 times in, you know, as recently as July 21st, 2008.
Right.
Okay.
And he lied to, you know, poor Bob Woodruff on television, say that, no, it ended in 2006, and that's why it is entirely impossible that he is the father.
Right.
Please.
Okay, do you think that this could in any way, shape, or form affect this current election cycle?
You know what I think is interesting is Fred Barron, who was the chair of his finance committee in 2004 and 2008, the guy who said, I just did this on my own to protect them from the big old evil National Enquirer, is actually also, according to these reports, raising money for Barack Obama. And if I were Barack Obama, I wouldn't want this individual anywhere associated with me, because I think there are serious legal implications, campaign finance laws that may have been broken, federal tax laws that may have been broken with the $24,000 amount that we talked about, gift taxes. Has she paid any money for the generous handouts she's been given? Has Andrew Young paid any money? Were any of these funds from his not-for-profit organization or from his campaign? Right now, Mr. Barron is saying this all came from his own private account. That remains to be seen, and I do not believe for a minute that John Edwards has no knowledge of this. Many
politicians misuse, in a way that comes close to breaking the law, Judge, the money they raise with these nonprofit tax-exempt foundations. But this seems an egregious example. If indeed this money was used in any way, shape, or form to either compensate his mistress for doing nothing, or now to pay this hush money or this child support, is this a potential federal felony?
Oh, it's not only a potential federal felony, it's almost a potential federal guaranteed investigation. You cannot use organizations that have a tax-exempt status as a shadow for a political campaign, which it appears he did, whether it's a 501c3 or the 527. But in addition to that, to use that money for himself or his mistress, and clearly this has been going on. And don't tell me for 1 second, Geraldo, that some guy who's your campaign finance chairman is going to dish out, what is it, $35,000 a month to Andrew Young, a month to Andrew Young and his ex-mistress, just because he feels like it, and that he hasn't spoken to John Edwards about it. This is incredible. It's preposterous, and it is something that I think the feds are going to look at.
Is Craig still with us? Craig, I want to make this very clear. He goes to the place, to the Hilton on the 21st of July at 9-ish. He leaves at 2:30. Is there any possibility he was just there, saying hi to his old pal, the videographer?
Saying hi to his old pal for 5 hours? I don't think so, Geraldo. I mean, the lights go on, they go off. He spent the night there with his lover, according to these dogged investigators, Geraldo.
From the National Enquirer, who get all the kudos. The New York Times blew it, totally. Okay, I want to give one clarification to what we say. I'm hearing from a lot of tax lawyers. The $24,000 limit only applies, first of all, that's if Fred Barron and his wife give.
Right, as a couple.
If it's just him, it's $12,000,
right.
So they have to pay taxes after. But it only applies if his total gifts in his lifetime exceed $1 million. But Fred Barron's a big high roller. I'm sure that his gifts over his lifetime.
Well, how long has he been paying the $24,000?
Well, who knows? Who knows? And to who else has he paid?
Yeah, right.
And he was in 2004 the chair and 2008.
Okay.